I've reached my mid-60s and I've begun intentionally stepping away from the crowd. It isn't born of malice, but from a profound realization that dawns on most of us far too late. For decades, I was the ultimate safety net for everyone else. Co-workers, distant relatives, acquaintances, even those who took my generosity completely for granted. I operated under the illusion that morality required perpetual availability, bending over backwards and keeping my door eternally unlocked. But somewhere amidst that endless giving, my own identity eroded. So, at 65, I instituted a massive shift. I now prioritize tranquility over social obligation. In this discussion, I'll walk you through the core epiphanies that led me here, and why retreating from the noise might be your most transformative act yet. And trust me, the sixth insight is a revelation people usually grasp when the clock has almost run out. Stick around for the whole journey. Let's dive in. The texture of time has fundamentally shifted for me. At 65, the sand in the hourglass is no longer an abstract concept. It's a visible reality. In our youth, we operate under the delusion of infinity. We squander afternoons on hollow chatter, on acquaintances who take us for granted, and on pursuits lacking genuine substance. Today, every passing second carries a heavier, richer weight. Tending to my garden at dawn, listening to the rain, or sharing a deeply authentic dialogue now feels like striking gold. That is the moment of awakening. You realize that your calendar is sacred territory, and not everyone earns a passport to it. This isn't vanity, it's profound discernment. Now, I run everything through a simple filter. Does this interaction cultivate serenity? Does it enrich my existence? If it falls short, I release it, because investing energy in the wrong company is effectively robbing yourself of a beautiful life. Another bitter pill I've learned to swallow is the natural expiration date on certain bonds, and finding peace with that fact. I used to labor under the assumption that connections required relentless life support. Texting first, attending every minor gathering, pumping oxygen into dying friendships. But the years revealed a stinging truth. A handful of folks only stuck around because I was an endless fountain of favors. The second the well dried up, they vanished. That was the catalyst for understanding that authentic ties shouldn't leave you gasping for air. They should act as an anchor. My current social orbit is undeniably microscopic, yet infinitely sturdy. The individuals I keep close today honor my boundaries, comprehend my spirit, and cherish my presence. Frankly, that beats a crowded room any day. Handing out trust has also become a highly curated process. In your 20s, your heart is an open book. You hand out benefit of the doubt passes like candy. I was no different. And while that openness bred some gorgeous memories, it also delivered brutal betrayals. Colleagues I vouched for threw me under the bus, and friends I financially supported developed convenient amnesia. Those scars alter your blueprint. I guard my trust fiercely now, not out of cynical resentment but because I finally recognize its premium currency. My personal doctrine is straightforward: extend trust at a snail's pace, analyze behavioral patterns relentlessly, and make calculated judgments. Above all else, I place absolute faith in my gut instincts. If a dynamic feels slightly off, I don't brush it under the rug anymore, because shielding your mental sanctuary will always trump keeping the peace. And the insight I'm about to reveal next is something society actively conditions us to ignore. We inhabit a landscape that has grown unrecognizable. Modern existence feels frenetic, chaotic, and profoundly isolating. I can recall eras where the folks next door were an extension of your family tree, where porch conversations meandered for hours and eye contact was standard practice. Today, society is perpetually wired, frantic, and staring at screens, yet plagued by unprecedented isolation. We broadcast our lives constantly but forge zero true emotional bridges. Frankly, the sheer velocity of it all leaves me winded. Therefore, I have consciously retreated into minimalism. I crave reduced static, fewer glowing notifications, and an abundance of unfiltered reality. Because in an ecosystem that refuses to hit the brakes, choosing stillness is the ultimate act of rebellion. Decoupling the concept of being alone from the ache of loneliness was a monumental triumph. They are entirely separate animals. Loneliness is a gaping wound, but solitude is a warm blanket. I absolutely revel in my independent hours now. Whittling wood, observing the shifting clouds, or simply existing in a quiet room no longer triggers a sense of void. It feels overflowing, because within that silence, I unearth my true voice. I decode my own emotional rhythms better, my nervous system rests, and my thoughts gain immense clarity. Consequently, when I do mingle with others now, it carries actual weight. It's entirely organic, devoid of guilt trips or societal pressures. But here is the true linchpin of my transformation, and the core reason I actively dodge the crowd. Let me clarify. I don't shy away from humanity because I harbor disdain for them. I distance myself because I finally respect myself. There was an era where my generosity bled me dry, my default answer was always yes, and I completely abandoned my own well-being, leaving me an empty husk. Now I act as a ruthless bouncer for my life. I actively dodge chronic complainers, theatrical conflicts, and parasitic dynamics. I aggressively defend my schedule, my emotional reserves, and my harmony, because the human timeline is far too brief to be perpetually fatigued by other people's chaos. My daily routine might lack fireworks now, but the joy I feel is unshakable. If these words are striking a chord deep within your chest, please hear this. You aren't an anomaly. An army of individuals, as they collect more gray hairs, arrive at this exact same crossroad. They abandon the exhausting theater of impressing the masses, they drop the pursuit of external applause, and they retire from being the town's reliable workhorse, opting to finally bet on themselves. This isn't a retreat into egotism, it's the purest form of evolution. This current chapter of my story is singularly focused on harmony. When you hit this milestone, the fog lifts entirely. The relentless hustling ceases, the need to justify your existence evaporates, the masks come off, and genuine living commences. You savor a perfectly brewed coffee, you treasure authentic allies, and you build a fortress around your psychological calm. Because the ultimate secret finally clicks into place. A successful life isn't measured by the density of your calendar, it's measured by the lightness of your spirit. Once that paradigm shifts, your lens on humanity is forever altered. So yes, I've reached 65 and I keep to myself. Not driven by a bitter heart, but guided by seasoned wisdom. Because I've finally grasped that our days are finite, very few truly earn a seat at your table, and inner calm is the only true wealth. If this philosophy echoes your own inner voice, pause and interrogate your current path. Are you still performing for the gallery, or are you finally writing your own script? And if this moved you, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Health Vibe, because occasionally the most whispered truths carry the loudest impact.